Hello, friends. This is the Cryptonian taking a look at BTC, Bitcoin, and we're here on the daily chart. But before we do, need to mention what happened with the FOMC meeting, the meeting that the Federal Reserve has, that the Fed has regarding interest rates. So everyone was pretty much nervous and fearful. The market sold off, looking towards the meeting, thinking that if the Fed raised rates, it would slow down the economy, and so there was a lot of selling out of fear. And basically, this is kind of what the Fed does, right? They talk tough, and in the end, they just said, they said today that no rate hike. So am I surprised? No, not really. They do this a lot. They talk tough, but they know they can't raise the interest rates much at all. If they do that, that's going to weaken the economy. That's going to make the Biden administration look bad. Um, so, it's going to be a balancing act between tough talk and, maybe some interest rates being raised, maybe a quarter, you know, a couple times this year. Um, but basically, what they did was they confused the market, right? They said no interest rates, but then they talked about rebalancing their balance sheet and getting rid of some of the bloat that they put on the balance sheet over the 2020-2021 time period. So the bottom line is it's good news. It's good news for Bitcoin, good news for the market. But because of the confusing talk and some of the tough talk for the future, possibly end of this quarter, the markets, they're still digesting that information. And of course, a lot of the media news is spinning this in a negative light. Now that's not a surprise. The media machine is not your friend. They're in favor of the big banks. They're in favor of big institutional buyers, and they're not going to be changing bullish until the banks, the institutions, smart money, fund managers buy in and get their positions, right? Then you're going to see a change of psychology, a change of risk on behavior and bullish momentum, bullish talk in the media once they're in position and they want the markets to go higher. It always happens that way, always. That's what happened with Bitcoin, right? When the JP Morgan and all of these other big players, they were holding Bitcoin and they wanted to sell to retail. They made these wild predictions. Oh, Bitcoin going to 400,000, Bitcoin going to 200,000. And everyone believed it. They had the wrong impression. They started buying at the top. And the big money, the smart money started selling at the top around, 70K, 65, 70K. So this is typical behavior. And this is basically market manipulation. And so if you know the game, you're going to do a lot better. If you don't know the game, and you don't have experience, if you knew, you're probably going to be taken advantage of, lose money, that kind of thing. So be careful out there. Looking to that being said, looking to the daily chart for Bitcoin. Well, it was a typical week, right? You can see that, let me move this here. You can see we had a lot of bullishness with this candle, and there's a lot of selling, but there's always also a lot of buying that pushed up this price to here 49, and then we had a lot of volatility, thinking that there could be a Wyckoff accumulation zone here. A lot of bulls and bears fighting in this area, ultimately pushing up, testing the 30-day moving average on the daily, getting rejected. Prior to that push to the 30-day moving average, we had a lot of volatility and a lot of rejections at the 10-day moving average. Rejected there, and then we were rejected here at the 10-day moving average, rejected here at the 10-day moving average, and then just recently, again, rejected at the 10-day moving average. So on the daily chart for Bitcoin, it's pretty much business as usual, right? Now what I do see that's a little bit different is I see this nice, long, strong volume bar, green volume bar. This is telling me that possibly institutions are buying at this point, right? Institutions may be buying at this level. We just need to wait and see if we see additional volume bars like that as we go along at this level. Now the good news is we're seeing buying come in, but the not so good news is that it's typically down here at the 33, 34 level, right down here. That's not really what you want to see if you're a Bitcoin holder, because that means we could be going lower. But then what's interesting here is that we're getting close to a bottom. That's pretty much what all this tells me here. We're getting close to a bottom, but before we call a bottom, we need to see more evidence. Now we were rejected at the 10-day moving average, which is typical in a downtrend because we're in a downtrend, and we saw this little gravestone candlestick, and so that's a hard rejection at the 10-day moving average. So that's not really a good sign, and that kind of tells me that we're going to probably spend a little bit more time down here in the 35 area, 34, 35 area, maybe 36, and have a lot of volatility. The bulls, bears are going to fight, and if the whales buy in this area, like they did here, whales, institutions, whatever, big players, then we most likely will have a good chance to create some kind of sideways support bottom, and then that's when I'm going to start paying attention to take a position. Now short term, I'm looking for a higher low or a double bottom, and then so we can see some impulses challenging that 30-day challenging that 30-day moving average here. Okay, that's what I want to see. I want to see larger amounts of volume being bought up, and I want to see more stronger impulses to the upside, breaking higher than this 10-day moving average here, like we've been being rejected by here. I want to see the price reach up to the top of this bear cloud, the red cloud here, around 40K. Now we just did almost 39K, so it'll be nice to see a higher low or maybe a double bottom and then a push up to 40, 43. That will tell me that we're close to having a bottom, or that the bottom's already in at 33, 34, right? So that being said, let's take a look at before we do that, let's take a look at some other indicators here. So we've got the volume indicator here on the daily, just had a bull flag here, bullish signal, right? So that is a positive sign. That's what created this rally here. Okay, and the stochastics has already bottomed and is on the way back up, so that's a good sign as well. RSI is 28, so that's showing weak price action, which, you know, it's good and it's bad. I mean, it's bad because obviously it's weak. You want a strong Bitcoin. But the flip side to that is that it's good because this is where a lot of, below 30 RSI is where a lot of buyers buy. Okay. So we just have to wait and see a few more days later this week, see how much purchasing comes in, see how far we go. If we make a higher low and then push up from there, that would be a bullish signal. Or if we just kind of make a double bottom and do this, what I'm going to be looking for is I'm going to be looking for that higher low. I'm going to be buying that higher low. Higher low shows a possible change in trend, and higher low shows at least a temporary strengthening of the bulls. So that being said, I'm just waiting for consolidation, double bottom, some type of support to develop. It's important that we allow the charts to tell us what it wants to do. Front running the market, guessing where the bottom is, and being premature entering the market when a bottom has not developed yet, that can be risky, and that leads to losses, anxiety, that kind of thing. So in my opinion, we're getting close to the bottom, if not already touched the bottom, but the major trend has not changed. We're still in this obvious downtrend on the daily. That has to change into a green bull cloud and before I see any type of hope for a reversal here. And it's very possible that we could enter into a consolidation zone, something like a Wyckoff accumulation zone, where the large players, the institutions and the whales, they are buying the bottom and selling the top. They live at the extremes. In these zones, they live at buying at the bottom and selling the top. That way they build a position, they allow they allow the price to range, and they build a position by just buying low, selling the upper edge, buying the lower support, selling the upper resistance, and then that prepares them for the next push up and the next bullish uptrend. So that, in my opinion, that's not going to be for a while. Bitcoin does have a large range. We need to remember that. And although we may see some moments of nice uptrends, they may be temporary, right? They may be temporary. We need to see a pattern that's bullish developing, and we just don't see that yet. Now, that being said, I told you that pay attention, be careful, because after the meeting, after the Fed meeting, the FOMC meeting, we could be seeing a sell-off, and that's kind of what happened. Now, how severe this sell-off will be, we don't know. We need to see, like I said, a higher low or a double bottom or some type of a sideways consolidation that would tell us or give us the idea that this is a possible bottom. Do I believe it's a bottom? Yeah, I do believe it's a bottom, because we are at the same level that we were at last summer in the previous Wyckoff accumulation zone, right? So I think they're going to accumulate at these levels again. And I've said in other videos that I believe that we're possibly in this huge, large consolidation zone where the large players are using, like when you look on the weekly, the large players are using this zone here, all of this zone, right, using that as an accumulation area. Could we go lower? Sure, we could go lower. If we break 30, if we break 29 and 30, it's going to be very bad news. Very bad news. But we haven't seen that yet. Actually, what we're seeing is we're seeing some buying coming in. On the weekly, we're seeing some volatility, and it's indecision. So we just need more time. It is clearly oversold. Oversold on the weekly. Oversold on the RSI, weekly RSI, and the weekly stochastics. And but if we do not see a reversal here, macro reversal, we are in we're in trouble. We are at the risk of giving up this bull trend and going into a macro bear trend. Okay, that is a possibility. So that being said, I said also in previous videos that when Bitcoin is stable, or when Bitcoin is going up, the altcoins, your favorite altcoins, will probably go up, right? So I told you to start thinking about altcoins. If there's projects that you want, if there's projects that you've wanted to buy in the past, but for whatever reason you missed the pump, then they became too high, you missed your entry, then they were too expensive to purchase, this is your opportunity. I'm not saying buy now, I'm just saying keep your eye on them, because when Bitcoin puts in a bottom or sideways consolidation or something like that, if Bitcoin is stable, the altcoins are going to rally. We've seen that over this past week. Some altcoins have been, running 10, 20, 30%. Okay? So just keep that in mind. So that's kind of where we are. I just wanted to touch base, put it out there. In the middle of the night is a good time to look for entries. Okay? Because a lot of times the prices sell down at night in the West. And you can possibly pick up some good deals, because sometimes that would be before Asia actually pumps the prices higher. So that's what we've seen this week, right? This past week we saw Asia active at night pushing the price higher. So when we woke up, prices would be higher, and then there would be a small pullback, and then prices would go even higher when additional purchasing took place. That's a difficult place to be to find an entry. So this is the opportunity now, as the prices pull back, to find an entry. So let's see what happens. We're still in a downtrend on the daily, on the macro, but that doesn't mean that there won't be any profits. That doesn't mean that there won't be any opportunities. There will be plenty of opportunities in altcoins and Bitcoin when Bitcoin is stable, or when Bitcoin's going up. Plenty of opportunities in altcoins. So have yourself or what I do is I have a list here, and I look and see which ones are doing well, right? And I see which ones are green. I filter it, and I see which ones are doing well, which ones are green, and that's a possible one to take a short-term position on. Now here we see PBX up 11%, Theta up 4%, and these are up from the week, right? So if there's a narrative, if you see some development taking place, a big partnership or something like that, that would be a little bit different. Then you'd want to possibly consider a position there. But everything's pulling back right now, which is it's good. It gives an opportunity for those that are not in the market to get a position when things start to turn around. So there you have it, friends. I don't want to make the video too long. Thank you for your time. Please let me know in the comment section below what you're looking for as far as which coin that you have your eyes on. Do you think that we're at a bottom? Do you think Bitcoin's going to be going up from here? What's your thoughts about the Fed? Oops, excuse me. Sorry. Thank you so much for your time. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care and be safe.